Equations and inequalities. We have transformation of formula. This one is about making the subject of the formula, making a certain value, a certain quantity in the formula, the subject. And making the subject of the formula requires getting the term, getting the particular variable placed on one side alone. Like if we say that area is equal to pi r squared, in this case a is the subject of the formula. You can make r the subject of the formula by having r remain alone on that side. So you have a over pi, we divide through by pi, so that will remain with r alone. And now that this r is squared, you can get a square root on both sides. So you have the square root of a over pi equal to r. By doing that, it means that you have made r the subject of the formula. So we have examples. They have given us examples here. The first one is make v the subject of the formula. This is the formula they have given us. And we can make v the subject of that formula. There are a number of ways we can do it. And the one I'm going to give you here is one of them. You have 1 over u plus 1 over v equaling to 1 over f. We are going to get the LCM of u and v, the LCM. And getting the LCM of u and v is like getting the LCM of 2 and 3, or the LCM of 7 and something like maybe 11. What is special about 2 and 3 is that they are prime numbers, or they don't have if they are not, they are prime numbers, fine, but that is not the reason we are going to do what we are going to do. They don't have, the reason is that they don't have a common factor. There is no common factor. There is no common factor other than 1 between 2 and 3. So we can get the LCM of 2 and 3 by having 2 times 3, which is equal to 6. The same applies to 7 and 11. There is no common factor between them. So the LCM of 7 and 11 is 7 times 11, which is equal to 77. And there is no common factor between u and v. So the LCM of u and v is u v. That is the LCM. And when you get the LCM of what you have there, you get this LCM and divide by this first one here. uv divided by u, you get v. Then you multiply by that. uv divided by u, v times 1, that is v. Anything times 1 is equal to that anything. If you get 6 times 1, you get 6. So anything you divide, you multiply by 1, you get that thing you are multiplying. So uv divided by v, that is u, times 1, that is u still. So it is equal to 1 over f. And from there we have, we shall cross multiply. We shall have uv times 1. It will get us uv. It is equal to f times v. This is f into v plus u, such that uv is equal to, we open the brackets here, shall have f v plus f u. What we are going to do, because they want us to, we want to make a v the subject, to have v remain on its own side, we are going to take this fv to the left hand side, and we have u v minus fu equal to, that is not minus fu, it is minus fv. We are remaining with fu on the right hand side. Let us delete this and we get some space there. So we have, after that, we are going to factorize out to u, not u, shall factorize out to v. So you have v into, when you pull out v here, you remain with u. So you have u, this one is u minus f. We factorize out by pulling out a common one, and then this space will remain with the u. Here when v is out, remain with f, so that when you multiply out, you get vu, v times u, you get this uv. Actually vu and uv is the same. V times f, you get vf, which is this fv. Actually multiplication is commutative. Vf is the same as fv. Uf is the same as fu. So don't freak around, don't mind about that, it's the same thing. So this one is, when you get that, that one is now equal to f times u, and from there, to get v alone there, we shall divide through by u over f. We shall divide through by u minus f, even here fu divided by u minus f, and this one goes with that. So you have that v is equal to fu divided by u minus f. That is having v as the subject of the formula. Then yeah, that's one. We have example 2. See there, we have that for each of the following equations and the formulae, make the letter in brackets the subject. So the first one is having that f is equal to e minus 1 over e plus 2, and in brackets they are put e. Remember they said make the letter in brackets the subject. So here they want us to make e the subject. Now there are ways, as I told you, that to make something the subject of the formula, you have got to ensure that that thing remains alone on that side, on a particular side. So what we are going to do here, we have f over 1 equal to e minus 1 over e plus 2. We shall cross multiply, and we have 1 times e minus 1. 1 times anything is equal to that anything. So we have e minus 1. That's when we multiply 1 minus times that. This one is equal to, we shall multiply f times this, where we shall have f into e plus 2. We shall have to open the brackets there. This one is now fe plus f times 2. Yeah, for the first one we have written fe, but here we cannot say f2. We normally we are supposed to start with the, when you have a number and a letter, you start with the number. So this one is 2f, and now we want to have e alone on one side. So we shall get all the terms containing e and we put them on one side. So let this fe get to the left and this one get to the right, like this. The e gets there and this one gets to that side. Don't do that in an exam, I'm just showing you what I'm doing here. So we have e minus fe, it is crossing the equal sign is to get to that side, is equal to that side we are left with, we have 2f, then this one crossing the equal sign becomes a plus, so that now after that we factorize e. There is e here, so we have 1 minus f, it is equal to 2f plus 1. There is common here and there, so when I factorize out e, here I remain with the 1 here, such that e times 1 I get e, e times f I get fe. That is the essence of factorization. So we have that now E is equal to, I divide through by 1 minus f. This is 2f plus 1 divided by 1 minus f, and that is having E as the subject of the formula. Yes. Roman 2, we have that A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared. Let me first turn the equation around. Let me have, turning the equation around means having what is on the right be put on the left without having that thing of saying that they are crossing the equal signs. You just interchange them, not having them that they are crossing the equal signs, but interchanging them. So I just interchange, and I have that B squared plus C squared is equal to A squared, such that now C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. B squared is getting from the left hand side to the right hand side. In other words, I'm subtracting B squared from both sides, such that now C squared is equal to that. Remember, they said make a C the subject of the formula. So to have C as the subject of the formula, I'm supposed to have the square root on both sides. So I shall have the square root of C squared is C is equal to A squared minus B squared. That is what we have as C as the subject of the formula. Then this one is H. We shall write it as H over 1 equal to S minus 2 pi r squared divided by 2 pi r. We shall cross multiply 1 times that. You get S minus 2 pi r squared equaling to 2 pi r. It is 2 pi r times h. H times 2 pi r. I have 2 pi r h. That is not a power, it is just h there. Then I shall take this one to that side, and I have that S is equal to 2 pi r h. It crosses the equal signs and becomes a positive. So this is plus 2 pi r squared. And now when we look at this, there is something we can do about it. There is something more we can do, because you can see that there is 2 pi r everywhere. So you can say that S is equal to 2 pi r. That is factorizing out the 2 pi r. And when you around here shall remain with the h plus, when you pull out 2 pi r here, these are 2 r's. There is r and r. It is r times r. So when you pull out the r, shall have that 1 r will go outside, and then another r will remain inside there. So that is what we have as S as the subject of the formula. Then this one, Roman 4, we have that m is equal to 2 plus root 3x. They want us to make x the subject of the formula. So how do we remain with x alone? There is a 2 which is being added to that term there, this term, and then this term. We have 2 terms. So if you have terms like that and you have an addition, you can remove a partial term from there by subtracting. So you shall have m minus 2 is equal to root 3x. That one shall take the 2 from that side. We are tending towards getting x alone on that side. So first of all, we have got the 2. because it is being added to the root of 3x, we are going to subtract it on both sides, and we have it to the other side. Then after that, we are going to square both sides. But before that, let me first turn the equation around, and I have root of 3x equal to m minus 2. Now I get the root, I get the square, I square both sides. When I get the root of 3x and I square it, what I get is 3x. So basically this one is 3x equaling to, this is m minus 2 squared. 3x is equal to m minus 2 squared. And to get x alone now, because this one is multiplying with x, we shall divide. So I shall have 3x divided by 3 equaling to m minus 2 the whole chunk squared divided by 3, such that when this one goes with that, I have that x is equal to m minus 2, close the bracket, square that, divided by 3. That is x as the subject of the formula. Then this one is q equal to, can also write it as q over 1 equal to p minus 3 divided by 2p plus 1. Let us cross multiply 1 times that. I have p minus 3 equal to 2pq. Okay, let me write it like I have q times 2p plus 1. That's what I have there, from which I have p minus 3 equaling now to, I have 2 times 2p. I write that as 2pq. Don't write q 2p. We don't start with the letters, we start with the number. Then here 2 times 1 is simply q. And now from there we want to get p on one side. So let us get the p on the right hand side and we take it to the left hand side. So we have p minus 2pq. That is having this thing, this one here, to the left. So it crosses the equal signs and is becoming negative. Then on the right hand side we remain with this q remains on the right hand side. So I'm writing it there, q plus, this one was negative on the left hand side, it has gone to the right, it becomes positive, that is plus 3. We shall factorize out to p. This is p into 1 minus 2q equaling to q plus 3, such that p alone is equal to q plus 3 divided by 1 minus 2q. That is the version of that equation with the p as the subject of the formula. This is 1. It is 1 minus 2q. That's what we have there. Then this one is now, we can still have y over 1. Y over 1 is equal to x minus 3. The whole thing is squared. That thing is squared divided by 16. After which we shall cross multiply. They want us to make x the subject of the formula of this equation. Cross multiply 1 times that, we shall have x minus 3, the whole thing squared is equal to 16y. And then because this one is squared, we are going to get a square root on both sides. So you have the square root of x minus 3 squared equal to square root of 16y. The square root of something squared, we will get the what you have squared. So the square root of x minus 3 squared is x minus 3 itself, and the square root of 16y is supposed to be root 16 times root y. So this one is 4 square root of y. It is 4 root y. It is like the square root of 3 times 5 is the same as square root of 3 times square root of 5. So when we say square root of 16y, we have that as square root of 16 times square root of y. And square root of 16 is 4, and that of y is still root what? Root y. That's what we have got there. And I now have, since this one is adding there, I shall add it on both sides. It is subtracting, it is being subtracted. So I have x minus 3 plus 3 equal to 4 root y plus 3, such that this one goes with that. I have that x is equal to 4 root y plus 3. That is having x as the subject of the formula. And you can note, when they say that make x the subject of the formula, and you have x on the left hand side in your final answer, we don't expect any x on the right hand side. You can check this one here. They said make p the subject of the formula, and there is no p there. P is only there. There is no p there. Some students make that mistake. You are saying that you are making p the subject of the formula, but again there is a p there. That one cannot be the version where we can say that we have made p the subject of the formula. When you make x the subject of the formula here, you don't again have when you make x the subject of the formula, again you cannot have x that side, as you can see. And that is what we call making the subject of the formula, that x is equal to the rest. That is what we have there. So here we have made x the subject of the formula. And now this other final one, we have that t is equal to pi times square root of L over G. This one is a common formula we use at A level in some part of physics and mathematics. But this one is just about making the subject of the formula. They are not asking you anything about it. Don't fret and don't freak out. So I have t over 1 is equal to 2 pi times square root of L over G. We shall cross multiply. Actually, we may not cross multiply here. Let us divide through by 2 pi. Let us divide through by 2 pi, such that we have t divided by 2 pi equaling to square root of L over G. When I divide this chunk by 2 pi, the 2 pi goes away and it remains just there. By 2 pi, by 2 pi, 2 pi cancels from the right hand side and it remains on the left hand side. And because the right hand side contains a square root, there is a square root on the right hand side. It is square root of L over G. I am going to square everything. So we shall have t over 2 pi, and we have everything squared there, is equal to square root of L over G squared. We are squaring everything, and when I square, I get this one as t squared divided by, when I square that, I get 4. When I square that, I get pi squared. It is equal to the square of the square root. I simply have L over G. And from there, I can now cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I will get t squared times g. I get g, I shall have g t squared is equal to 4 pi squared times L. I get 4 pi squared times L, and then I divide through by t squared. I have g t squared divided by t squared is equal to 4 pi squared L divided by t squared, and t squared goes with that t squared and remain with g alone on the left hand side as equal to 4 pi squared L divided by t squared, and that is g as the subject of that given formula. I hope you have got some good introduction. You can get more problems on that, and yeah, shall have some examples in the next video. And as for now, peace.